A question that most of our engineers and tech savvy youth has in their minds most of the time when they hear the word programming. So let's learn about Java programming for beginners today. And the esteemed speaker that will help us learn more about Java is Mr. Ramachandran Srikanth, the Senior Director at Capgemini. Hello, Mr. Srikanth. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning. I am very good. Thanks for that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Srikanth. Just a quick introduction for you. Mr. Ramchandran has over 25 years of IT experience. He was part of various roles in the past, including developer to delivery manager, practice operations lead, and currently performing the role of market unit delivery lead at Capgemini. He's worked on various technologies from mainframe, Oracle, Java to cloud technologies as part of this journey between developer to project manager. His delivery management experience spans across various large engagements spanning cutting-edge technologies such as Hybris, Predix, and setting up CoEs for Kronos and GRC. During these years, he delivered great results in delivery excellence, growing the portfolio multifold and ensuring client satisfaction through successful deliveries. His key focus and interest is always to mentor the fresher batches who join the practice. And I think today's event is also one of the things that adds a feather to his hat. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Ramchandran. The stage is all yours. You can start with your session.
Thank you even for this opportunity. I mean, I have a little bit of sore throat. In case you guys can not able to hear me properly, please do put it on a chat and I will respond back. Thank you
Absolutely.
again and welcome you all. After this wonderful session or very fascinating session, just I heard the last bit of the slides talking about financial management. Next is going to be on your technology side of it. I am not here to say that this is going to earn you millions and you can go and directly put as a goal and take it forward. Though that might turn out to be a true, I am here to just only talk about what is going to be a career for you to take it forward. Right? Having said that, I'm not going to explain you the lot of jargons, explain you about or threaten you in terms of have you not learned this, you are not going to be here on that. Give you a feeler what Java is all about and how we can take it forward from your learning perspective. End of this session, you will at least get a feel of what is it you have to learn it and how you can take it forward. Right? I joined an organization in 1997 post my engineering college at small place in Tamil Nadu. Back now in 1999, that is when first I heard about Java, right? I heard 95 is a path where people talk a lot about Java. From there, 2005, people still talk about it. 2015, people still talk about it. And we are just shy a year of 2025. If you see it, we are still talking about being in Java. That means the flavor of it is getting changed. At the same time, it's also keeping its momentum in terms of how it can supply to the industry to drive it across. What does that mean? So Java as a program, it is always being friendly to the batches which is coming in, friendly to the people who are the beginners. I don't want to name the people in this crowd as a beginner. Anybody learning first is a beginner. I am learning AI today. I am a beginner on that. I was learning about something about e-commerce 5 years or 7 years back. I am a beginner at that point in time. That is what I mean is a beginner. Beginner is no way it is being and people out of a college is a beginner. That's according to me is a misnomer, right? Anybody learning new is a beginner and being an IT industry for that matter. Now, if we need to survive in any industry, even in household, you have to learn something new. As a kid, we push our mom to create any new dish. She can be a homemaker, but she has to learn something new. For her, that is a learning. For her to satisfy our family, for her to make our family beautiful and this thing, she's doing that, right? Every one of us are enjoying from our family. That is a big. She's learning something new as a beginner, and she is expert in what she's doing, though, right? That is how we have to take it forward in our learning. Coming back to our topic on Java. So I will give you a perspective of what is its key future, how it is getting evolved, how it is servicing the various industries, you name it banking, you name it retail or any industries, how it is coping up with that and what we need to do and how we can take it forward. Just to give a glimpse of, am I part of a college now? What is that shift for me into the corporate? What I need to do or what I will get it. I will just give that glimpse and you can take it forward from that. Okay. As a key feature of Java, it is like we all know that at least whoever has even done a small program of system.out.println, you know that you just write that for once and you can run it anywhere. When you say run it anywhere, you can run it in any environment. Just to give a very small portion of our understanding, right? Be it Linux, be it Windows, be it cloud, be it on Unix, any platform, it can be used. That means what? It's a beautiful JVM which is helping us to ensure that it can be portable, can be easily taken it across, and that's a powerness of Java which is helping it for any industries or any corporates or any enterprise to use that, right? And what the entire base of this language is being an object-oriented programming. I mean, if you all know that, I'm not getting into the details of what does that mean. It's based on the functions, based on the OOPS concepts like polymorphism, encapsulations, and other aspects of it, which helps to drive it across. And now, memory collections or memory management, very important aspects, right? I mean, pick an example. I will throw some lot of examples as part of the journey of next 30 to 40 minutes. Like you take an example of Amazon, which is always every festival it says that the festival time, I given discounts and other things, it get hit a lot, right? What does that mean? It gets a maximum hit during that period. We want to ensure that application can be scalable and driven it across on that. In a background, it's the memory management which can be taken it up well. And a classic example of our Indian government IRCTC website, that too between 10 to 12 Tatkal, right? Where huge amount of people hit the server, it has to manage that. That's a memory management, right? So what has been happening in the background? It's a design by itself manages the garbage collections and how it can be driven it across. So that's a greater benefit on how it is being and popular, right? While I was writing a code in 1999, be it in C++ at that time, then in Java, we used to do a lot in clearing up the garbage and all those things to go line by line to check it out. Am I leaking some memory and other aspects of it? I mean, that's evolved a lot. We have got a platform, we have got a framework which can help us to do it a lot at this point in time, but still it's a long way to go for us to take it forward, right? And security is one of the major threat, or security is one of the aspects in any industries now. I mean, banking is a classic example. Day in, day out, you are doing some transactions now from the feel good factors. Immediately you got the automated caller just to get a call from the bank saying that there is a high volume transaction. Are you sure you have done it? If you have done it, it's okay. If not, please take care. So you are getting that message, right? And then data has to be encapsulated, data has to be preserved, ensure that right set of people has to be looked at it, and more than that, the wrong set of people should not be looking at it. Entire set of being in security at the network level, at the data level, at the application level, that's been completely taken care to driven it across, which is highly important at this point in time, because security has become people have even who was very smart in the computer programming and very smart has started doing, and how it can be broken it up across, and it gets evolved over a period of time. And as a point of the fact, I was talking to you about 1995 and we are in 2024, almost like 30 years. it is coping up. It is literally coping up to manage what is the trend at that point in time, how it can be driven it across, how I can take it forward on that. That is what Java is doing. When I say I will explain you in a couple of slides from now what I mean by a Java here, right? We will go there. And very key factor is it's an highly dominant and having an highly dominant community as well. What I mean by that is, if you are having a challenge in understanding something, if you are having a challenge in trying to get some things to driven it across. I mean, a small example. I think 2021 or 22, I think 22. There are some security issues on Log4j, and Java came up upfront to get that sorted out. It was purely based on communities which was working on to get that. It's a security violation on Log4j which was being trapped, but in a span of I think less than 48 hours it got fixed. It's mainly due to the various community, Apache community or its open source communities, which helps to driven it across. So for a people like you who are the beginners, which is driven it across, it's an open source. You can learn it. No investment for you to drive it across. It's an open source. You have an ease of learning with lot of libraries available for you to drive it across. Every time you learn a new thing because new library keep coming in for a reusability or for a new functionality. For today, you might be writing a program to create something new. Tomorrow, it becomes a library on its own. Tomorrow, it becomes an API on its own. So it helps you to learn always new things, and you have a greater amount of support for you to take it forward on. Right? With the base being set in, I just want to also to give you a different flavor here, right? Why people are longing on Java. These are I was trying to get something from from the investment analyst and other aspects as well. Unfortunately, I could not get it. But these are the two greater forums like IEEE Spectrum and Toyab Index, which were giving a point of view or how it is being on a top of the spectrum, always in terms of the demand, always in terms of the dominant nature on that, right? If you see it on the top, Python is picking up, Java is always there on that, right? And if you see it on the bottom, Java is one of the things where it is consistently having an high amount of popularity among the set of people to driven it across on that. Let's focus on the top chart, right? Why this is being popular? Like I said in the previous slide, some of things have been like ease of use, ease of learning, and if you are putting your effort to learn and drive it across and completely understand the concepts of Java, forget the Java as a language being portable. It's a Java is easy. If you are learning in Java, and it's easy for you to learn a Python. Okay, I am just trying to answer a question. I don't want to get into a controversy. It's my own personal view. Always people will ask a question, right? Especially people trying to ask, should I learn Python or should I learn a Java? Right? It's not about I learned this or that. It's about am I getting into the basics and driving to learn it on that? I am into the old school of thought. You know that at 25 plus, obviously, it's a old school of thought where you will understand the basics of OOPS. It helps you to understand the large amount of code. It helps you to understand the debug skilling and driving it across on that, which helps you to have a basic foundation clearly set for you to get into the steps of what Python can do it and other things on that. Python has its own advantage. It has the advantage of analytics and other aspects of it. I'm not getting into that. But this has the various focus and spectrum, how you can drive it across and how we can help you as well. When I talk about the spectrum, it has a various frameworks, right? You have an application framework. I mean, give an example. Struts as one of the framework on that in the old era. Spring as a framework which is being worked across on that, right? which clearly holds your service layers and how it can be driven across. Then you have a framework on persistence, which is nothing but which talks to the database, right? Any data, it has to talk to the database. In the how it has evolved. Earlier, you will have a big amount of code of the data layer. You will be hold it and then you gather the data, completely hold it, and you will be doing this thing and then pushing it back across like Ibatis or Hibernate, what it does it on. Now it's just you have a mapping between that database layer and data layer here, and it can driven it across. People don't even understand the completely on RDBMS or just know the basic concept on RDBMS. I know what an oops does it can excel well on the front end technologies to driven it across. That's how the things have been evolved now. That was not the case 20 years back, right? So you can excel in the front end technologies, and all you need to do is create an API, have a mapping, have a persistent layer to drive it across something. Then you have a web services framework. Then you have for an example, web services is nothing but the service layer where your entire logic is being driven it, which helps to talk between the core business layer on that. Then you have you call it an app framework or app services framework where you hold the WebCheck or WebSphere or JBoss or whatever it is. And even the testing of that, it can be a functional testing, it can be a technical testing, it can be a code coverage. You have a framework on that as well, called as a testing framework, be it an JUnit, be it an, let's say, TestNG, or be it an Selenium. You have in various things which can be used in, again, that itself can be created using Java, which helps you to give one perspective of an coverage. Why this is required? Now people are more bothered, or people are more respective on the ensure that technology debt or technology waste is not there. There should not be a code which is being lying without being used, which is being lying, which is not necessary for us. That is very critical for us to drive it across. So you have a test coverage on that, right? So you have these various frameworks, how it can be driven it across. With that, I quickly get into this evolution, which I will not spend much of time because we don't need a history. All we need to know is how we go forward, right? As I said, 1996 or 1995 get started. We are into 2023 or 2024. It got evolved into the various framework, but still, even the most famous this thing is Java 8.0, which predominantly being used across various this thing, which can be used in AWS, which can be used in any other hyperscalers, or which can be used in JBoss, which can be used across in various app servers and web servers, which lot of enterprises been using it on that. With that, let me get into the little bit of different perspective of what it is, right? If you see it here, there are various boxes. I was throwing it across in this. Let's go one by one. So how it is saving it here? What is Industry 4.0? Industry 4.0 is, how do I explain? It's like industry has evolved and it reinvented itself. How the business can be designed, or how it can be manufactured, how it can be it can distribute the supply chain products across, right? What they have done, they have evolved various technologies for that. You call it IIoT or IoT, you call it cloud or cloud connectivity. So somebody will have an on-prem or somebody will have a cloud connectivity, or to the recent trend like an AI and ML kind of thing. So what it was doing, it was I have a mobile in my hand and I know what it is happening. I use an IoT to drive it across, right? Or I do want various analytics being happen. Some of the basic works, I mean, whenever you pick an example, next get into banking and finance, or even in Amazon, if you get into the website, you always now have an interface or a layer by name chatbot, which only answer to you first. So they eliminate completely a layer which requires a human intervention, but it is being automated for you to respond to your frequently asked questions, for you to respond to your whatever is the various amount of top 20 or top 30 percentage of tickets that does not require a human brain, right? We have created the model in such a way it can be driven it across. You just go around this entire gamut of things here. Everything happens on that, right? In that way. You call it banking or you call it healthcare and life sciences. If you guys have gone into this thing now, earlier you need to have a receptionist in front of the hospital and they will ask everything on it. Now it's on over phone, you book it, and then you will come to know when you need to get into a lab, you do a lab, and then post the lab has been done. After the first screening, you will come to know what is that there is a anomaly in your parameters on your health. It gives a first set of whom you need to connect within that hospital. I'm talking about some large hospital. Take Apollo for an example. Which kind of doctor you need to look at it. You give options for you to choose the kind of appointment time, and then it fix an appointment for you, right? So that's the first set of screening and analytics being done to drive it across on. Then you have in smart devices. You have in smart. Everybody is now having it, right? You run it and other things on that. Based on that, your sleeping time, based on your running and other things on that, based on our recent things of cholesterol and other aspects of it, it gives you an indication what you need to do, what you consumed, how many calories you can have it. So it's kind of a preventive and predictive maintenance, which has been completely driven by this industry 4.0. Why I'm saying all those things here, right? Everything is done with the gamut of Java applications. It can be done with that. So what you are learning or what I am talking about is not just in core Java. It's a suite of applications which evolve from that, and what you are learning will help you to drive it across in the various industries, right? Now you talk about the e-commerce. I mean, famous. Everybody knows Amazon and Flipkart. That's such a wonderful applications. You kind of see between the various things what you wanted. You compare things. You kind of see that what is best for you, what is not good for you, and you kind of save a lot of time on what you wanted, or at least it gives you a feeler of what's the amount for you and how it is going to help you to take it forward on that. So now there are a lot of e-commerce suites of applications comes in. I mean, while the introduction, which she gave a big introduction about me, thanks for that. And it says I know Hybris, right? Hybris is one of the e-commerce application. It has its on-the-shelf product or on-the-shelf APIs available on what you need. If you want a shopping cart itself is being designed in Hybris. You can use that. You have to only invoke that API if you want to have a basic applications being driven on. In the background, Hybris is being driven, or you can understand the business logic of it if you know a Spring Boot. If you know a Spring Boot, or you call it microservices, right? Whatever is a front-end layer, if you know a Angular, then that is what the Hybris front-end is all about, which will help you on a customization of it. Always these kinds of products will come in, like off-the-shelf products, which can be used. Then you will be customizing it as per the business needs, right? What Amazon will be doing, it's the same thing though. They will be having an off-the-shelf product for themselves, which is there based on AWS cloud and other things like that. Then they will customize based on what is important being driven by the client at this point in time, right? That's the key thing which you have to understand and drive it across. Now get into the summary or basis of what we need to do it, right? So far, I gave you an examples, I gave you an various things of items, what we need to drive it across. as a gamut of various ecosystems, how it has in frameworks and library of things, what it can be used across on that, right? I will give you a perspective of what is that. When I say Java, can you see the screen properly, completely?
Yes, we can. We can
Okay.
see Java with different bubbles around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When I say Java, let's go one by one. You have an opportunity to learn a mobile technologies on that, right? So people used to develop on applications. Now you have a new sets of frameworks being on mobile which can be used and across on that. I'm not getting into the complete framework details and other things now in the interest of time. But on the Android applications or on the iOS applications, apps you need to develop, it's a base framework, it's been Angular or anything on that. When you get into embedded apps, predominantly embedded apps and system integrations, this is a critical, right? System integrations and embedded app. When any enterprise which you are in, any large enterprise, when the large enterprise always what they do, when they want to grow, they do it in an organic and inorganic way. That means they go by a selling of themselves, or do some acquisitions. When we are acquiring certain companies, the culture, the system, the various applications will have their own system. So here you will be using in PeopleSoft, there people will be using in SAP applications. You may not be able to overnight change everything. That is where you have a system integrator on trying to have a common dashboard, trying to have a common application, can pull in the data across to drive it across. That Java can be useful there on that. Web methods is a classic example which gets introduced. And then MuleSoft is a classic example which can be used in here. All those things bottom line is in Java. And our classic example of our web applications, right? Web application is nothing, any application what you do it now, you cloud-based applications or on-prem applications, the entire web application, be it from the front end on Angular or React or any frameworks, then into the web services, you do your Spring Boot or anything on that, then into our backend layer and how you to drive out the services and other things on. Use your entire gamut of web applications. Any enterprise, smaller to large, anything, you have at least 70% of that system will run on a web applications or web apps. Okay. In that 70%, at least I would say 60 to 70% of the organization still is running on Java-based applications. And you talk about big data. Big data again is a framework. You have an open source framework. Pick an example, Hadoop kind of thing, which is being associated on the big data, where Hadoop is predominantly reliant on the rationalizing and analyzing and data with synchronizing and non-synchronized kind of data, where Java is a framework which does all those things to drive it across on that. With that being said, this is the where you will learn across. So now I am sure I have confused you enough that what you want to learn it. But I want to give you a clarity here, right? When you say you have a Java as a framework, let's pick an example, right? You have a core Java being developed now. Earlier we used to write it only on TextPad or Notepad as an IDE. Now you have Eclipse, and then you have a lot of being frameworks or a lot of being external this thing being fit into that for you to help a lot, right? Then you can focus yourself on front end technologies, or you can focus yourself on backend technologies, and you can have both skills being developed being a full stack developer, right? That's where you extend your skills and develop across on that. Then you become an these are all so far I was talking about just as a Java as being a base. Now to the pace of what we are in this recent way. When you are very good on Microsoft, I mean Spring Boot, or when you are very good on full stack, you can be on a cloud applications or cloud technologies which have a microservices, because the entire thing when you learn a lot about microservices, which is nothing but if I need to be in a one liner, I need to say if you know Spring Boot, learning microservices is no brainer. Okay, which you can run it across. That's one. And getting into that, I have given only, I want to minimize the jargon. If you see it, hyperscalers are nothing but these are all the top range cloud players who are there, like AWS, Google, and Azure. If you see it, AWS and Google both are predominantly or completely on AWS Java frameworks, right? That will be easy for you to scale up into that and have various frameworks within AWS and work it across of that. And then to the buzzword of AI and ML, what is being now? I mean, it can be something new tomorrow, but Java is coping up to driven across of that. Okay, I know I am into the last 5 minutes, but in my last 2 minutes, I just want to give it and keep that for the sessions for you people to ask some questions, right? So I was telling you about a lot of these things on what you want to learn, how you want to driven it across, what is important for you, and what is that few of the things you want to know it across on that, right? If you see it, there is a big cultural shift when you want to get into the college, from the college into the corporate. I am intentionally not saying corporate being in just a single company, any corporate you go in, right? When you get into that, you will always see a major cultural shift. In a cafeteria, you guys will talk a lot in the college about some of your professor, or talk about what is a movie that is being recently released, or about the cricket matches. That will happen in the corporate. But you will hear a lot about what are the initiative being driven, what is the deliverables to be taken it up, what do I need to plan for the next client visit, what is the new things going on here to driven it across. And you see a various age groups who are being taking it across on that, right? What is the first major thing you want to do it as a college? I have seen from the past, people will not share their learning, right? Which you have to move away from that. You have to share your learning, because none of the things will not come in with only you learning on yourself. You have to share your learning. You have your friends, have a WhatsApp group, talk about all nonsense, but you need to also talk about what is that you are talking about, what is that you learned on Spring Boot. Pick up a technology, pick up a topic, you guys share the learning so that you know the basics and driven it across. You don't need to be expert on any of the things. You have to understand the complete basics. It will make you the expert soon. Okay? You need to have an tangible POCs or a tangible case studies being done it on that. What I mean by that, you take yourself, like let's be it like an again our own good example, IRCTC or Amazon, right? You replicate that site and create it. Just learning will not help you. You have to write your code. Don't copy paste, reuse. And I'm sure I am confusing you guys. There is a difference. You go into the net and just copy paste and say that this is working, I have developed, will not help. At the same time, you do that, nobody stops you. But tomorrow or even today, if somebody asks, click of a button, the functionality happens, you need to know which part of the code which is doing that. Pick up a topic on that, you expand that. This exception handling on this is not good. I want to change that complete exception handling, which is I copy pasted, and you redo that. That is what important. Once you have done it within your friends, you do a screen share, you do a demo to them, and be brave enough to tell them what you have learned and what you are doing it. And question back your friend, have you done that? You said you are supposed to do that. So you should have a short goals to drive it across, right? That is exactly will happen in the corporate. Nothing else. No rocket science, right? Nothing new they will teach you. And I can bluntly tell you, people will not start with system.out.println. Some basics people will make you to understand that. From there, you will be given a case studies to drive it across. There are mentors will help you, will guide you. All those things will happen, and there are enough things available for you to search it on the net to drive it across. Right? You will be given a various models. You will be given a classroom training, pair programming. I said friends here, right? It's a pair programming. Two people work together to come out. There will be a test to evaluate. All those things be happen. Will there be a pressure? Obviously, yes. When you want a money, you have to have a pressure. When you want to learn, you have to have a pressure. Money is the last portion of it. But learning will not come without being in pressure. At the same time, it will be a pleasure for you to learn. It's not just pressure. It's a pleasure for you to learn. And when you learn and move forward, you show the intent, you show the interest, you show your basics of learning, automatically rest of things will come on. And what is the learning material? No rocket science again. It's a sales study. You have various platforms available on the net. You pay it or don't pay it, you have it. But there is, at least this is again whatever going to come now. This is my personal, right? You just don't need to pay anything. You go into YouTube, stop shorts and get into this. You learn this automatically. You will. There is nothing you will not know it about it, right? On YouTube, what you will know it and other things also. With that, on the time, if I get some couple of minutes for the question, that's all I have, and all the best for you guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Srikanth. In fact, we do have a question from the audience, and I think we can take just one question because it's come from Dominic Johnson.
Okay.
He's asking about a roadmap for Java on how to go from basic to being an expert. And I think you've pretty much answered that from the last slide. However, if you can shed some more light in terms of, how long the journey is and how much time it would take to go from basic to expert as well.
Okay, so basics of Java, I assume all you guys would be knowing it now, right? It's not about the time. That's why I said the time is if let's say you are here on the core Java to the AI, time is long enough. It's a longer than year plus as well. I don't think you need to focus that way. What you need to focus, have a basics yourself cleared. You need to clearly know what is that Java is all about. What are the various APIs and how the flow it works. You develop a web application being in front end, back end, and we can connect to the database. Have all those basics been completely done. I know how it has been deployed and all those basics been done. From there, you pick up what is best for you. You want to be a full stack developer, you want to be a front end developer on that. You choose Angular. Don't be like I want to learn everything in single shot. Java by itself has some huge amount of framework. And one day today people will come back and say, hey, you know Angular? I know only React. Doesn't matter. You search for .js, you have 50 plus .js will be there. One day people will say Angular. Within that you have various versions. One day people will say React. One day people will say Vue.js. Everything has its own perspective of how it is working on that. But as a basic inherent nature, it has evolved from JavaScript here. You need to know what JavaScript is doing it, how I am doing it in Angular, how I can earlier entire page get refreshed. I am doing it only portion of the page to get refreshed, but still I get the data from the database and do it on that. These are all the basic things you have to learn and go it from there. Use your time in a smaller manner to the larger manner. What I mean by that is, let's say you are traveling on a bus. You have every time you I mean 90% of people, don't take me wrong, there's nothing wrong in it. You always have hearing a phone and talking to people on that. Spend some 30 minutes in learning one topic in YouTube. Understand what is that you are learning on that particular day. You pick up the topic, how exception handling to be done. It's a favorite to me. Every time I just pick it, how various ways is get done. You will learn that. What is important? When you learn it, you will remember. But when you write it on it, you will remember forever. So you have to pick it up. You don't need to write from the scratch. You pick it up and put it back on that on your code. You start creating your libraries in such a way that this is where I started as my small program. This is where I evolved. I have my own Amazon.com. I have my own enterprise application which has the master lookups, which has the connection to the database, it has the various lookups, how I do your data cleansing, which has a lookup, how I drive it on the business logic. It gets connect to the Postgres, it gets connect to the normal RDBMS. Those kind of thing you have to start learning bits and pieces. Eventually, you will become an expert and creates a confidence. It's all about learning. It's all about creates a confidence. Time, trust me, I do not know everything now because learn today, it gets evolved tomorrow. That's how this IT industry is all about.
So it's also merely about practice on how many concepts you can absorb, how much you can implement
Exactly.
out of it, and how many projects you keep working on and learning on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's the same with any musical instrument. It's the same with programming languages, I think. So you just need practice. You just need to clear your concepts. So I think in the interest of time, Mr. Srikanth, I'll just email, the other questions that I've received, and if you would be kind enough to answer as many as you possibly can, I'll relay it back to the people who have asked these questions.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I will surely, please let me know anytime it's okay to do that.
sure, perfect. Thank you so much for the amazing session. And the audience seems to have learned a lot about Java and the domain in general, and from where to begin if they are interested in building a career in Java. So thank you so much, Mr. Ramachandran, for joining us today. And you can exit the webinar now while we continue with the next set of our sessions. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day
everyone.
ahead.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
EduBridge.
much.